Masofdas here, and I'm here for a special sort of one-man podcast with around about a week to go for the release of Resident Evil 7, which is one of my most anticipated games of 2017. I thought I'd look back at the Resident Evil series. As you may or may not know, before this channel got renamed to Masofdas, like my PSN, Xbox Live, and Twitter, etc., it was Massive Biohaz, standing for Master of Biohazard. I wouldn't say I'm a master of the Biohazard or Resident Evil series, but I have played a lot of them. It seems to be around 25 games, 26 if you want to be a bit pedantic and count the pachinko slot mobile game that was only released in Japan. But anyway, the 25 that are available here in the West, obviously the UK for myself, I've played a whopping 16 of the 25, and 8 I didn't play. So first I'm actually going to talk about the 8 I didn't play, and sort of why I didn't play, or why I think I didn't play them. While I'm talking about the Resident Evil, there will be obviously the video playing of games that hopefully link in to what I'm talking about. Obviously this is one of the games I didn't play that's currently playing at the moment. So starting with the 8 games I didn't play, the first one is Resident Evil 6. One of the reasons I didn't play 6 will be apparent when I go through the games I did play with Resident Evil 5, and then obviously the reviews for the game and the way it took a more action third-person shooter route. I did like the idea of 3 campaigns, obviously upping back to like Resident Evil 2, where you could play as Claire and Leon. So that was cool, and how they were all meant to play differently. So that was really an interesting idea, and I like the idea of that. But to me, it just looked like a sort of very standard third-person shooter, and from what I've been told or reviews, not a very good one. Yeah, so I've not played that. The next one is Resident Evil Mercenaries Versus, which I believe is a mobile game. So pretty much that's why I've never played it, because it's on the on mobile. Next one I didn't play was Degeneration. This was linked into the movie. That's the animated CGI movies, not the live action ones with Mila Jovovich. Yeah, again, because it's a mobile game, never played it. It could be bad, it could be good. I honestly don't know with that one. Didn't play Gaiden or Gaiden, how you want to pronounce it. That's on the Game Boy Color. I didn't know that was actually a game until quite a few years after it came out. It's quite expensive now. Set you back maybe up to 100 quid if you want a boxed instruction mini copy. So that's why I've not played. You get to play as Leon, I believe, on that one, in a boat. And the boat theme seems to be used quite often in the Resident Evil series, which I'll talk about later. Next one I didn't play was actually the one that's currently playing in this video. It's Operation Raccoon City, which actually looks quite cool in this video. It's supposed to be real bad. It's like a co-op, Left 4 Dead style shooter, but obviously based in the Resident Evil universe. For as far as I'm aware, it takes place during like Resident Evil 2, and you're like a STARS unit, not STARS unit, because that's an umbrella unit going in to basically wipe out the zombies and stuff. But I've not played it because like I said, I heard real bad things about this one. Next one I didn't play was Resident Evil Survivor 2 Code Veronica. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't play this one, because at the time the Resident Evil series was still pretty decent. These were great titles. It was a PS2 game, so I don't know if it was a matter of time and place and I was playing the GameCube or the original Xbox instead of the PS2, or I didn't want to buy like the gun controller, because obviously it's a on-rail shooter. So I'm not sure about that one, because there's one on my list of games I did play which came out after it, which used the gun. So no idea why I didn't play that one. I didn't play Darkside Chronicles, which was a Wii game. I think it got ported to like the PS3 and stuff, and like a HD version on PSN. Didn't play that one either. Another on-rail shooter. The Resident Evil series seemed to be 3 sort of games. Obviously to be the more traditional survival horror, the newer third-person shooter style ones, or an on-rail shooter. Never sort of like anything completely different. I know like Gaiden was a Game Boy Color game and top-down view and shooting, but that's obviously due to the limitations of the Game Boy Color. There's obviously the Resident Evil 2 on the Tiger Gamecom, which obviously uses the Resident Evil 2 name, and I believe like the same setting and stuff. It's just obviously how it's presented is different. I don't know if you want to count that as a separate game. And there's 27 Resident Evil games due to how different it is to the rest of them, to the rest of them in the series. And the last one I didn't play was Umbrella Corps, which is obviously fairly recent, which seems to be Operation Raccoon City 2 almost, but an online multiplayer shooter, which I think got released for like 30 quid. If it was a free play title, I may have given it a chance. But then I've seen people such as Jim Sterling give it not glowing reviews and stuff. So that's the ones I didn't play. So now we're going to talk about the ones I have played. And this is obviously sort of my top 16 Resident Evil. Quite a few of them, up until about 9, you could really put into any order what you want. So 16th best Resident Evil, in my opinion, is Deadly Silence, which is a DS, which it's sort of a remake of the original Resident Evil ported to the DS. It's okay, it's not brilliant. It's a PS1 game on DS with touch controls and stuff. Number 15 is Mercenaries 3D for the 3DS. Mainly due to the lack of content with that one. You can get it real cheap now. It's quite often on sale, even on the eShop for like a $5. So, worth checking out there. 14 is Survivor. So, that's the first one of the Survivor 2, even though it's a completely different plot. It's on the PS1. That one uses the gun. I can't really remember any of the story. I remember, I think, like a helicopter and you crash and then you play the game. It's first-person shooter. I remember always having trouble finding what save points and stuff on that one. Number 12 is Resident Evil 5. And this is really the reason why I didn't even look at 6, because I did not like 5 2 at all. I found it a very bog standard first person shooter. Obviously someone that played every Resident Evil up until that point. I was real disappointed with it, and then like stupid things like Chris breaking the boulders with his like bare fist. I found it really, really strange and odd with that one. Then you've got Revelations 2, which I've only played the first chapter or episode. This is episodic. That one really fun. You get to play as Claire and you get to play as Barry. Two stables of the Resident Evil series. Really like that. I've just not had time to pick it up. It's been on sale often. It's just that's really a time constraint on that one. My 10th best Resident Evil. This is now where you can really like start thinking about order and stuff. Now it's actually a joint one. So it's actually more Resident Evil games than I actually originally said. It's a joint one. It's Outbreak and Outbreak File 2. I can't remember which. I've played both of them, but I can't remember which one is which, if that makes sense. I believe they came out rather close together, a few months apart. One had online and one didn't, and obviously the PS2 was a bit of a pain to get online because you had to buy the adapter. But it's cool concept. Basically, you're a bunch of regular survivors in Raccoon City, and like you're like a waitress, but and they all had different skills and stuff. It's really cool and really good idea. It's like something that I can see the Resident Evil series possibly going back to, like Operation and Umbrella Corps with the multiplayer aspect, like 8-player online multiplayer would really cool. One of them like getting remastered or remade. So I would like either of them to come back. That would be fantastic. So that's pretty good. Number 9 is Revelations, which after like 5 and stuff seem to be really going back to Resident Evil's roots. It still plays in third person shooter sort of perspective, but really more survival horror elements. Really good on like the 3DS. Got ported to other consoles. Good to play Jill Valentine. Really worth picking up, and I would check that one out if you can. Then the 8th one on my list is, I think you're going to be surprised of this one being so low down on my list, is Code Veronica, or Code Veronica X. And when it got ported over to the PS2, and that's the one that's been HD'd quite often now. And the reason it's down where it is I never really clicked with me. I don't know why. Basically a Dreamcast fan, as you may know, and it's originally a Dreamcast exclusive. But there's just something about it that never really clicked with me. I don't know why. Because it's it's more traditional Resident Evil, and what I did play is good, but it's just missing that je ne sais quoi, as they would say. So moving on to number 7 is the Resident Evil original or director's cut. The first one is aged actually quite a fair bit, and now a game that's later on my list far surpasses it. So it's just really, if you want to go back and start the Resident Evil series from the start, and if you want to start, there's a better option within the series for that. Number 6 is Dead Aim. This might be a surprising choice for a lot of people because it's a on-rail shooter, and well, it's actually not an on-rail shooter. It's played in third-person perspective, like most Resident Evil games, especially the old ones. But when you go to shoot, it goes into first person, and you use the gun on like the PS2. So this is why I don't get why I didn't play Gun Survivor 2, because this came out after Gun Survivor 2, and I had to use the gun to play Dead Aim. But it's actually really good. It's based on the boat, and like the boat theme again, and yeah, it's really sort of like underrated Resident Evil game. I personally really like it. I don't know if it has become a cult Resident Evil game or not. I don't ever hear many fans ever talking about it. It's mainly the core ones and stuff, and then there's like two sets of fans. There's the ones that love the originals, like myself, or the ones that excuse me, that prefer the more modern take on the shooting. And there's a one that's sort of split between the two audience. But we'll get to that one in a second. Number 5 is Zero. This is obviously the one that came to GameCube. It has since been ported to other consoles. It's had the co-op element before, like Resident Evil 5, where you could switch between characters, and they did different things than that. Obviously, back then didn't have online, like with Resident Evil 5, but I feel they could have put that in maybe, in the HD version for like PS4 and that. That would be real cool. It was a sort of great follow-up to another one on my list, and it still holds up. I don't know what Capcom did make those games look that great on the GameCube, but they still hold up really well graphically, even for GameCube games with that sort of style. So the HD versions, pretty good. My number 4 on my list is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This is actually one of my personal favourites. I don't think it's the best, and I'm trying to rank these games as what I think is my favourite and my best. I really love Nemesis. It came out really quickly after 2, and you get to play Jill Valentine from the first one. Get to revisit locations in Raccoon City, and then obviously Nemesis, fantastic enemy, maybe one of the best enemies in gaming. How he chases you down, that really good. I've recently watched GameSpot's Let's Play series. Going Resident Evil 3, brings back so many cool memories. I love that game. My number 3 is Remake, or just Resident Evil for the GameCube. Recently been ported to other systems. This is where I will start with Resident Evil. So if anyone asks me where do I start with Resident Evil series, this is the starting point. You got lots of options how you play it. It looks fantastic still, even on the GameCube, if that's how you want to play it. Obviously the controls are a bit fiddly and that, but obviously on the more modern version on like the PS4 you can alter the control system, but otherwise it's still maybe one of the best games ever. And really these top three, subjectively and objectively are fantastic. But going into number 2 is Resident Evil 2. Like I said about the original Resident Evil, a game surpassing it. Remake, obviously does surpass it in where to start and where to play it, but 2 took the series in a whole new direction, not as in the third person shooting or whatever, but what you can do with with a sequel. The first one still obviously got a fantastic atmosphere in the mansion, but obviously opening up in that big city, 2 campaigns, and then like even back then, like all the replay value and that, going back through, get all the different costumes. It was one of the first games I've played and completed when it came out. Renting it from the local video shop, playing with my uncle, absolutely fantastic. It might be nostalgia why it's up there, but I played it recently. You can check back in one of my videos, first 15 of playing Resident Evil 2 on the GameCube. I tried to rush through it a bit and try to get really far in 15 minutes, so I died quite quickly. But otherwise, still holds up in my opinion. And number 1, you might have guessed it from obviously not being on the list so far, is Resident Evil 4. And when I said there's one game that seems to split the 2 fan bases of the classic Resident Evil fans, as you can see from my list, like the top 5 are 0, Nemesis, Remake and 2. I'm a classic fan. And the more modern fans, and that seems to be 4. Resident Evil 4 obviously has the classic elements of survival horror, not as much as the classic ones, but also not that third person action thing. And a lot of people use 4 now as I don't know what the best word, scapegoat? No, that's not, I don't know if that's the best word, of like where the series went wrong. And 4, tons of high reviews, sold really well, on the GameCube, and when it got ported over the PS4, I think even did down great on the Wii. The Wii version is basically actually the best version. And then obviously Resident Evil continued to go even more action with 5 and then 6, and then a lot of the fans were there before 4 or picked up for when it first came out, before word of mouth how great it was, and felt that like that game is what changed the series and the direction of the series. So that is overall the best game. It's not even just the best Resident Evil, it's mostly the best game on this list overall. And obviously it's got like the Ada missions, mercenaries and stuff depending on which version you play. And obviously the replay value of the different costumes. And then that could have, it's got a bit of co-op element with Ashley. So really that could add on some sort of online or whatever, more modern version. But it's great, but obviously as a more older fan of the Resident Evil, I'm hoping 7, from what it looks, even though it's now a first person game, seems to be going much more back to the survival horror route. So I'm really hoping that turns out to be real good and a real success for Capcom. So yeah, thanks for listening to me go on about all the Resident Evil games. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy playing Resident Evil 7, and maybe go back and play some of the others, and let me know in the comments what you think of the series, and maybe what your favourite games are in the series, or should I have played any of the ones I didn't play? Is there a reason why I should have played 6? Is there something really interesting in Leon's story? Obviously it's now available on the PS4 to download, for instance. So let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.